Welcome back to Around Our Table. Alex and Deanna here. We're in our camper van, Durania. And those of you who have seen our previous video know that we had started off on what we hoped would be a 2-month trip to Canada's East Coast. And we were about 11 days in or thereabouts when we did the last video, and we said we'd follow up with more. But since then, our lives have had somewhat of a dramatic change. Around the end of our second week, I got quite sick, so we headed home, and I ended up in hospital for a month, and it was a rather difficult time. I managed to lose 40 pounds by not being fed, and it's been now about 3 weeks since I've been out, and it's taken a while to get my energy back, and we're finally on a beautiful, beautiful late fall day here, enjoying a day out, and we'll go for a walk in the woods. And just thought we'd bring you a little up to date.
Yeah, and you're not being fed because what appeared to be the problem was
Manyfold.
Many folds, but basically his vocal cord is paralyzed, so he cannot swallow. So it's a glottis, and currently he's on basically life support, feeding tube.
Feeding tube, not life support in the way we think. Not ICU type life support.
Well, yeah, but feeding tube is considered life support because all the food is delivered, and it's a special food. We'll show you the food eventually. It's delivered through a feeding tube that goes into his stomach. At home, we have a pump that basically pumps 2 boxes of this food, which is about 500 milliliters, into his stomach for 2 hours. So our lives are very regimented at the moment. We follow schedules for this 3 times a day feed. But we managed actually yesterday, we've tried it before, but yesterday Alex managed to administer one of his meals through a syringe, and that's what we will do here while we for a short day trip outside.
And this is really a prototype for us, for our proof of concept for what we hope to be able to do next spring and summer or next year. Unless by then I can swallow, and
there is some hope.
There's hope that will happen, but it's a neurological issue. It's not a physical issue, so the doctors have no idea when or even if my ability to swallow will come back.
And for more information, you can actually, if you've read it, it's in our blog, aroundourtable.com. There are quite a few posts there, storyline.
All the most recent posts.
Yeah. But there are quite a few posts around the situation and what we do.
So here we are. I am much better than I was, and not as good as I will be. And we're about to enjoy this great day. It's about it's off right now. It's about
15 degrees.
15 degrees here, which is 60 Fahrenheit, thereabouts, and. We're past the prime, but we still got some nice fall colors around, and we'll take a wander around, take some video after lunch.
After your lunch being delivered.
I'll show you lunch in a moment. So here we are. I'm about to have my lunch, and the good thing about these boxes, or cans as they call them, is I can call them whatever I want. So I think I'm having a nice pad thai for lunch now. This is called Nestle Isosource Fiber 1.5, and this is a prescription food for me. As Deanna mentioned before, I have 6 of these a day, and these 6 actually are enough food to keep me at my current weight. Which I should mention is about 40 pounds less than it was when I went into hospital. But it's what the BMI says I should be. We could talk about that another time. Anyway, here's what we do. and Deanna will walk you through the preparation, and then I'll show you the gruesome way I feed myself.
Okay, so there isn't much preparation for this one. You just open it and we'll pour it in this little jar so it's easy to take.
So it's easy to take into the syringe.
Into the syringe. At home we do the pump and we pour it in a bag, but that is for another time. So here we are. The first box is already out.
And here's where it's going.
It's going into his feeding tube.
So this feeding tube goes into my stomach right about here, just below my sternum. There are two ends to it, and the reason for this is one is called feed and one is called flush. When you're on a pump, when I was first on the pump, I was being fed slowly for 14 hours a day, but during that time I also had to have water flushes, and I also had to have drugs put in, medications, and so there are two ends here so that you don't have to unplug one to do the other thing. So we can stop the pump, we can then push medications through here, and then just restart the pump. This syringe is a 60 ml syringe.
And it's new, so I have to loosen it a little bit. I can do this.
Okay, so Deanna will prepare it, and I'll prepare myself. What I have to do is I have to fold the tube so it blocks itself, so I can open the lid, which sometimes sticks.
Okay.
And is quite difficult to open. Even the nurses at the hospital were having difficulty with this one. So there we are, that's now open. The syringe goes in. I let go of the tube. And then just slowly get into my pad thai. Now it's very interesting. These cans of food we have been in the van for a couple of hours now. And it was a lot cooler out earlier, so they're still a little cool, and I can feel the cool as it goes in.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's not that bad.
Okay, I'll keep this in the sun.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Oops.
So what we do in the morning now, in addition to having the 6 cans of food, I also have to have 1.5 liters of water pushed through here during the day. So in the morning, Deanna warms the water nicely for me when I have my water before my first feed. So what goes in 2 hours by the pump, which can run faster, but what goes in 2 hours from the pump will go in here in about 10 or 15 minutes at the moment. I'm doing it slowly because I'm not used to this yet. We only tried it yesterday for the first time since I actually was able to tolerate this. So first one's done. Once again I fold it, I pull this out, and then it's just rinse and repeat. And Deanna doesn't have pad thai, she's stuck with a smoked salmon sandwich, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it for the food, and now it's time for the flush. As I mentioned before, not only do I take 6 cans of, or 1.5 liters of food every day, I also have to take in 1.5 liters of water. And both the food and the water are prescribed by a dietitian at the hospital. And the water here is going to serve 2 purposes. The first one is the hydration, but the second one is once you finish putting food in, you need to flush the tube to get the food right into the stomach. So I have a little water in here already, but Deanna will put some more. At home, Deanna has been boiling 1.5 liters of water the evening before and letting it sit overnight to get rid of that chlorine smell we sometimes get. But now I'm better. I don't think we have to worry about boiling water. We'll be able to use tap water. Although in the mornings it's been really nice to have that water warmed before it goes in. So this flush goes on. It's pretty much it's 1/2 liter of food, and then it's going to be 1/2 liter of water. It can be done at different times. And again, this is just a practice round. Working fine so far. Deanna, until recently, has been doing a lot of this for me,
Everything, basically.
except for the syringe. Except for pushing the syringe.
Yeah.
So.
But when he came from the hospital, he was basically non-present at all. He was either sleeping or half asleep or with huge headaches.
Huge headaches and nausea and fatigue, and my eyes were light sensitive, my ears were very sensitive. When the dietitian, the home care dietitian first came in, her voice was very loud. I had to put earplugs in. I think at one point I said to her, "I'm not deaf." But I guess she deals with a lot of older people, and many of them are deaf. Things have got a lot better. I'm taking a little more control, ownership of what's going on here. So Deanna's able to take a little bit of a break here and there. So while I've been doing this, Deanna's had her lunch, and some people may be wondering what it's like for me to be fed this way while others around me are doing that thing called eating. And quite frankly, it doesn't bother me at all. It's been almost 2 months now since I had anything by mouth. But I still love the smell of food. I love to see a nice plate of food or a nice preparation or whatever. But I don't crave it. I'm being fed well enough here. I look forward to a day when I may be able to eat it, but it doesn't bother me.
But it bothers me.
But it bothers Deanna.
It bothers me. I can't eat in front of him. Up until recently, I would even not have my glass of wine in front of him or anything. I will hide.
Somebody at the hospital suggested that when I got home, it's nothing stopping me from putting my wine in here. My response to that was, I don't drink it for that. I drink it for the taste. So yeah, it is what it is. We take things day by day, and we try to make the most of what we have. And that goes for both of us. And I'm trying to do a little more because Deanna's shouldered the entire burden for 2 months. The house maintenance, the financial side of things, the dealing with the home care or lack thereof when we first got home. All of that has been on Deanna. All I've had to do is lie there and pretend to be sick. This proof of concept so far is working out really well. I think we're getting the sense that all other things being equal, we'll once again be able to look forward to traveling in the spring for some longer times.
Yeah, the reason we winterize the van now, and even there will be few warmer days, we may try, but there are a lot of medications to be crushed and delivered through this feeding tube, and especially one that is a chemotherapy basically for life. It's dangerous for me. He can handle it on his own, or I have to put gloves and masks and all that, and make sure nothing spills around. So washing syringes and delivering this in winterized van won't be really practical.
And all this continues until I can swallow again. Once I can swallow again, all these drugs can go in orally, and that the whole crushing and syringing goes away. That's probably the biggest barrier we have at the moment.
Yeah, because the rest of the drugs are okay, but that one is kind of complicated to administer. And
yeah. So there we are. We're just about done here. Stayed with us this long. Thank you.